What's up, YouTube? I don't know why my camera's there. We go. That's better. What's up, YouTube? I'm Mike. Today, I was really originally going to sit down to do a normal video about my quest to master Masteron, and I decided that I just need some more practice doing it in a live format. So I didn't really know. It's kind of an open-ended thing. I'm just going to sit here and kind of ramble. I just woke up, as you can tell from my beautiful puffy face. So I decided to just sit here and kind of rant about some things I was seeing in the comments, some of the experiences that have been going on, and try to put some things in perspective for a lot of you guys that probably struggle to figure out why I put my body through what I put it through. So if you've been following my channel, you know that I recently crashed my estrogen into the toilet. That's the thing. I don't even really know if I could call it crashing estrogen anymore because if I go get blood work, my estrogen is probably totally normal. But the Masteron is preventing the estrogen that is in my system from binding to the receptor. And so I guess it's probably more accurate to say that I was starting to experience the side effects of low estrogen binding in my body. And so um, I made a video talking about just how catastrophic that had been in my marriage. This is not the first time that I've either crashed my estrogen with Masteron or that I have now, either apparently blocked it with a SERM, which is what I'm finding out that Masteron likely is. So I don't want to call it a mistake, but like every time, when you have an audience that's like, you know, even if it's only 50 people, honestly, and you say, hey guys, what do you think I should do about this particular thing? You basically get, maybe you don't get 50 different answers, but you get like 15 different answers with varying degrees of agreement across the board. And so it's kind of hard to weigh through it. There's so many, everybody's that, because that's the thing, everybody's body's different. So, all of this is trial and error. And one of the main reasons I think that I wanted to make the video was really connected to two comments that I read last night. I don't recall. I think Jim Irsay's sponsor may have been one of them. I responded to the comments, but I think I wanted to make an entire video about it because the way one of the comments was framed kind of made me realize that in so many ways, I'm not the typical bodybuilder. So one of the comments was like, dude, take the Masteron out of your cycle. You know that's causing the problem. The Masteron led to this E2 situation. Surely the positives that you're getting from the Masteron are not worth the hell that you're going through with the estrogen. And then I think I'm trying to remember that now. I kind of got sidetracked there. I remember now. The second comment was, so it was kind of a jab, I think, where he was kind of saying something like, I think he was insinuating that I had just made a video saying that test, mast, Tren was like the holy trinity. This is the best cycle. And then like 2 weeks later, my estrogen's in the toilet. And so I think he was kind of making a jab like, hey, sounds like your fucking holy trinity might not be so holy. And so to kind of bring to respond to both of those suggestions in kind, what you guys have to understand is a couple of things. One, I'm not a typical bodybuilder. So like for a lot of guys, they're like normal human beings and I'm not. So a lot of you guys that watch my channel, you're getting information from this human guinea pig about various things, but your intention is only to say go on a blast for 16 weeks and build 10 pounds of muscle, 15 pounds of muscle, whatever. And then you're going to pull all these compounds back out of your system and you're going to go back to some state of normal. So over a course of a 16-week period, even if you have some sides that you don't love, maybe your estrogen's a little low, maybe it's a little high, maybe you have a little bit more blood pressure than you want, whatever it is, that it's only going to be for a short period of time. So most guys that are cycling steroids don't really have to do the tinkering that I do. So like, let's say you run Tren and you go crazy for 16 weeks and you get a little prolactin and your dick doesn't work perfectly. You're like, who gives a shit, right? Like, I'm not going to go out and like and buy Caber and like all of these different drugs that I take. You're not really going to go do all of that because you know you're only going to be on for a short period of time. So if it takes, say, 6 weeks for the side effects to start really kicking in, and then a couple more weeks before they get kind of unbearable, you're like, you know what? I got 4 weeks left. I can manage. But see, I'm a different animal because I'm a drug addict, basically. And I'm not running 16-week cycles. I'm running year-round cycles. I ran an entire year of Tren at 50 milligrams per milliliter, 50 grams, what am I saying? 50 milligrams of Tren per week. I've been on at least 100 milligrams of Tren per week or more for going on the last year. And so when you run a compound like Tren and you're not just going to get off of it soon, you can't ignore prolactin rises. You can't ignore the fact that it can make you grouchy and angry as fuck. If you're going to live on this shit, then you have to find a way to mitigate the myriad of side effects that it causes, or you are literally living in hell. And so it's easy for somebody who's doing normal cycling to go, hey, just take the Masteron out. When it's like, no, bro, I can't. The Masteron is what allows me to run Tren long term. So I can't just take it out. Now I have to go back to the lab again, and I have to figure out, okay, how can I make this work in my cycle? And that's how I've gotten all of the knowledge that I've gotten. So like when I hit these little roadblocks and some guys are like, oh, see, doesn't work, told you. That's not the way I feel about it. The way I feel about it is, okay, I learned something new. Like I'm now going to learn something new. I have all this experience for 3-4 years of managing my estrogen very, very specifically with Arimidex. I understand the full workings of that. And so I've got that down. And then when I branch out into a compound like Masteron that has SERM type of behaviors, it's like, yeah, you guys see me get a little frustrated when I come in here and I'm making this video like, dude, this is destroying my marriage. This is what my marriage is. This is what my wife signed up for, so I'm not frustrated at all. I was just reporting on, dude, I feel like trash right now. But we're going to figure it out, So I added back some more tests. So for those of you who are curious right now, I mean, I haven't even done it for a week, but basically where I'm going to be at right now is 300 milligrams of test E, 300 milligrams of Masteron E, 300 milligrams of Trenbolone E. The trifecta, 3 threes. So I'm going to be running about a gram a year, and I'm going to run 300 and see where my estrogen settles down at. Unfortunately, these are all long esters, and so this could be a long experiment. I would rather in this particular case, this is counter what I tell most of you guys, which is stop letting your estrogen get out of range. In this particular case, because the estrogen is so catastrophic to my marriage, if it's a little on the high end, and I say a little, I like my nipples are puffy but not getting knots, then I'm going to accept that while I dial it in, rather than be in the state that I've been in with my wife for the last couple of weeks, which is pretty brutal. Another thing somebody said in the comments, I'm barely reading them because my flow of consciousness is running. Multiple people have talked about like my skin tone, or like one guy said, you look sick, like you're really white, you're not looking good. You'll notice that the way my skin looks on this video is distinctly different than in most of the videos that I shoot. And the reason for that is I'm sitting in front of I don't know what the total is, 60 inches of fucking white screen monitors that are blasting my face with some combination of white and blue light in very, very close proximity. And then I have a Canon R6 with a lens that big around that's like staring me right in the face. And so yeah, my skin is not going to look great under all that massively unnatural lighting. I'm pale right now anyway. I need to get a tan. Usually my wife and I bottle tan this time of year, and I haven't done it, and I probably should. So, besides the trend eyes, which I think are unfortunately not really that apparent. See, this camera is not anywhere near the quality of my other one. So it makes me look like I have a filter. I actually kind of like this look. You know, it's like I have like smooth skin and shit instead of like the fucking pores and cracks and you know, like the trend eyes that I have right now are bad, dude. If you looked at some of those last, like the video I shot, some of the videos I shot last night, when I turn my head like this, they're so red and purple right here. It looks like I got punched in the face. Oh, there it is. You can see those dots. That just stays there. The whole, if I'm on more than about 100 milligrams of trend, that shit just stays there. So that's the plan, guys. Like, I'm not just gonna roll over because you know, because because I hit a hurdle. My entire experience with steroids has been nothing but hurdles. That's all it is. And again, if you're only running like a little 12, 16-week cycle and then you're get off, for most of you guys, it doesn't fucking matter. But when you try to like, basically what I'm not, this is not even like, I am bodybuilding, by the way. Super fucking excited. I can't believe I didn't mention this in the very beginning of the video. For the first time in my entire life, my morning weight was over 200. I weighed 202 pounds in the morning this morning. I got up to a new high of 203.5 pounds last night. That's the biggest I've ever been. I've never been over like 200.5 pounds, I think. So I'm seeing steady increases on the scale since I started the MK. I've been eating out of control. One of the things, I think I'll talk about MK for a second. One of the things that has been, I did not expect. It has been such a welcome change in my life. I knew the MK was going to give me the ability to eat more food. I knew that it was going to increase my appetite. But there's something that most human beings on earth experience that I never experienced. I don't think I've talked about this in the video yet. Like most people, they walk into like a restaurant or something and they smell like food they like, and then they immediately want to eat it. Or they will just be sitting around the house and they'll be like, oh man, I really could go for like some barbecue ribs and some potato salad. Or they'll be like, oh man, you know what I want is a piece of cheesecake or whatever. Like they have these invasive thoughts that pertain to food. This shit never happens to me in life. So when you guys can't figure out why I don't eat, it's because we're only free to choose from that which occurs to us to choose. Think about that for a second. Like people, y'all think y'all have free will. You're not free. There is no free will. This is complete bullshit. Okay. You can only possibly do in life what it occurs to you to do. And you don't know what causes the occurrences. So if you're sitting on the couch one day and you're playing fucking, you know, Diablo 4 on the PlayStation or whatever, which I don't know why you are, you should definitely get a PC. But never mind. The point is, if you're sitting around on the couch one day and you're playing video games and all you're thinking about is food, well, chances are your next action is going to be food related. You're probably eventually going to give in and go, I think I should go eat some food. But if all you're thinking about is pussy, or if all you're thinking about is making YouTube content, or all you're thinking about is going to the mall and seeing what new Gucci or Louis, except now I'm never buying Louis Vuitton because their new collection is totally fucking heinous. You get the point. We're only free to choose from that which occurs to us to choose. So on this MK, suddenly I'm starting to have like invasive food thoughts. Like I went out and I was just craving donuts the other morning. My wife came into the bedroom the other day with a like a microwave or a oven pizza, like a Totino's pizza. I've eaten a million of those in life. She walked in, I smelled it. I was like, I have to have that right now. And so for the first time in my life, I'm actually enjoying eating. I'm looking forward to eating. It's not just that it increased my appetite. I'm actually getting pleasure from it. That's never happened in life, short of like drinking Monsters, eating candy. Like I can enjoy that. I can get excited about that. Like Valentine's is my favorite time of the year because I eat the shit out of these right here. These conversation hearts. every time I see these in the store, I just buy them out. Like, and I'll just sit here and eat. It's like, it's terrible. It's like 60 calories of pure sugar in 11 pieces. Dude, I probably had, I don't know, 4 servings sitting here last night playing Diablo 4. So there you have it. Yeah, my plan is that I'm not going to just give up on the cycle or start pulling drugs out, which is probably the reasonable, logical thing to do. I'm going to continue abusing my body in fantastic fashion, and I'm going to find a way to stabilize my estrogen insofar as whatever that means, whether it's figuring out how to get around the receptor blocking or whatever. I am happy to report that things are better. They are decidedly better. I cuddled my wife for the first time in like 2 weeks last night. I actually had the desire to do it. Like, I was laying in bed again. This is what I'm talking about. Like, before last night, the thought of cuddling her didn't even occur. It was like, I just want to go to bed. Then last night I was like, oh, I could go for a cuddle. Okay, cool. Things are looking up. Morning wood is not all the way back where it should be, but it's a lot freaking better. Starting to notice the girls in the gym again. So all the familiar signs and symptoms are coming back around. Like, I'm smiling, I'm laughing, I'm being able to, like, you know, appreciate my wife. She watched my Masteron video yesterday where I took accountability for the fact that I've been treating her like dog shit, and the fact that I have been completely emotionally unavailable. And I think she could tell that the fact that I was admitting it in that video meant that I was now aware of the degree to which I'd been doing something. And so she's crying in my arms. And so we're going to get through it. You know, that's what we do. You know, that's the way it is in my house. And the sad reality is the alternative is worse, guys. And she knows it. Like, this is a bad week. It's been a bad week. It's been hard on her. It's been hard on me. But when I get off, I lose all motivation to live. So it's like, yeah, okay, Matt, I got you. Thank you, brother. I will definitely talk about that. That is a good topic. Give me 1 second here. Thank you very much. When I get off completely, dude, I'm just like a total loser piece of shit. Like, I will get nothing done. The yard will start getting like 10 feet tall. I just sit around my ass playing video games. I don't eat. I start losing weight. I get depressed. I can't find any purpose and meaning in life. The kids, my wife, everybody's like living their lives normally, and I just feel like a louse. If I'm at work, I make no effort at actually doing my job well. It's terrible. So to Matt's question, what benefits do you get from taking HCG with your cycle? I touched on this a little bit last time. I forget that not everybody is on HCG anymore because the FDA and their infinite fucking stupidity classified it as a biologic. So the benefits that you get from taking HCG are twofold. One, you get more testosterone. So when you take exogenous testosterone, then you signal your body's pituitary gland to turn off luteinizing hormone and follicular stimulating hormone. If I get too sciencey, just let me know. You may just want like a basic answer. But so the first thing that the HCG does is I can't remember if it's an FH or LH mimic, but basically what it does is it tells the brain, hey, turn your balls back on. And so when you turn your balls back on, your testicles, your gonads start converting cholesterol into this entire series of hormones, all of which have physiological functions in the body. So like most guys, most bros are like, all we talk about is androgens, you know, and then you have these people who are telling you your fucking estrogen levels should be high. I'm not getting in that again. But basically what we're thinking about is estrogen and testosterone and our gains, right? Like that's what we're looking at. But there's so much more going on inside the human body. And so like Ray just said, when you start using exogenous steroids, your nuts will literally shrink, and they can shrink quite a bit because they stop functioning. They atrophy. So for one, I think it's generally a bad idea to have any part of your body atrophy. And if you can avoid that, that's a good idea. But the most important thing that HCG does for you is it makes all of the hormones, testosterone, estrogen, and progesterone those are the floor. That's the last hormones that gets made in the body. Before that, there's like 15 other hormones. There's androstenedione, pregnenolone, allopregnenolone. There's DHEA sulfate, or I guess actually in the body it's just DHEA, which is dihydroepiandrosterone. If you look up a steroidogenesis chart, it'll show you all the hormones that your body makes. It makes those hormones for a reason. And so the most significant way that you will notice something has gone wrong if you start injecting tests without HCG is, like Ray McDonald said, one, your balls will shrink. But two, it massively negatively affects my orgasm response. My orgasms do not feel as good. My erections do not feel as hard. And in general, I just feel off. You just don't feel right to me. And I found this out because I went off the HCG for a period of time when my TRT clinic couldn't get it anymore and they were giving us gonadorelin. And so my nuts shriveled up. One thing that's interesting to note is I actually don't stay on static doses of HCG depending on the compounds that I'm running. So for example, various different hormones are suppressive at different levels. So I've noticed that, like, let's say I'm running test, Anavar, maybe a tiny amount of Tren. Depending on what I'm running, I'll take 500 IUs of HCG twice a week. That usually keeps my balls looking normal. You guys don't care probably. I actually have relatively large balls for some reason, and my wife likes it. I personally, if it wasn't for the fact that it has negative sexual effects, I would just let them shrivel up into nothing. My wife likes it. She doesn't like it when they shrivel. And so I keep the boys plussed up. But like if I go on Tren at 300 milligrams, 500 IUs of HCG twice a week is not enough. And they will actually atrophy anyway. They will shrink some because I think the Tren is just so suppressive. So to bring this all back together to something, when you take HCG, you get all of the upstream hormones that I promise you you need for normal human functioning, especially if you're going to be on TRT long term. 2, your nuts don't shrink. 3, your orgasm quality and sperm production will be substantially better. That's another thing that you guys don't understand. If you care about loads, when you pull out, when your balls shrivel, they stop making sperm. So it makes you sterile, more or less. That's not 100% guarantee. I know somebody's going to tell me they got their girl pregnant when they didn't have HCG. It can happen, but it substantially lowers your sperm concentration. And so I absolutely will. Like, to me, HCG is as important as fucking water on a cycle. Like if I'm running steroids, I know I have to stay well hydrated and get good sleep and get good calories. To me, HCG is an absolute mandatory minimum staple. I would never run test or any gear without it. The only way you can even possibly survive without it is if you were taking pregnenolone supplements, DHEA supplements, maybe, but I would probably just jump on Clomid before I would go completely without the HCG. So thank you for the tip. There's your answer. If there's anything I didn't get to, possibly, I'm sure I just covered it into oblivion, then please let me know. There are tons of sources for HCG. Both of the sources that I use that I've talked about in previous videos, get it, supply it. It is really not expensive. And it's great. I mean, it's a factor. Like somebody was saying, like a lot of guys don't like HCG because they think it's like a 1-to-1 causal factor in aromatase, in gyno. It does make testosterone, and it does seem to be the testosterone that it makes does seem to be more prone to aromatization. But again, when you have that as your total package, You know, if your doctor puts you on 200 milligrams of test and 1,000 IUs of HCG per week, and you pull that 1,000 IUs of HCG out, you have less test, less everything. You have to kind of rework your cycle, or it's not going to be the same. Yes, John Dabrowski, I know I need to get the fucking tanning going. I actually don't like some guys, and I'm not here to be your daddy. I only bottle tan or tan naturally in the sun. My first wife, actually, I met at a tanning salon. She worked at the tanning salon, and so I went up there every day to tan. Oh, my boy Matt is the man. Hang on. Yes, Matt, you give it 4 weeks, brother. Give it 4 weeks and watch your sexual health come back in a major way. Definitely, you know, you can go up on the doses to speed up the process, but like I said, just be aware that aromatization will take place with the HCG in the mix. So, but yeah, man, I'm glad to hear you got that back, and you'll be so happy. So anyway, I met my wife at the tanning salon. Thank you again, Matt, by the way. That was really nice, dude. And I was tanning every day. You know, I was like, when I was chasing her, I was up there just fucking. I mean, I looked more Hispanic than any. I get really dark when I get tan, and I thought it was all fine and great. And so we were looking nice and bronzed, and we were spending all this time, you know, running around town and shit. And like we'd only been together for like a year or so, and she got pregnant. And so I'm excited as shit. Got my first son on the way, and I had a mole like right around my navel that it was kind of like in my navel, and I didn't think a lot about it, and it had grown a little bit. It was like a darker color, and I just didn't really think anything about it, man. Like I was 24 at the time, 23 at the time. And I just, you know, I was a kid. I felt invincible. And my stepmom saw it one day. I was over there flexing or some shit. And she was like, let me see your belly. And I'm like, what? You know, she looked at it. She was like, you need to go to the doctor right now. And she's like super fucking chill, laid back. Like my stepmom's the coolest lady in the world. She raised me like I was her own son from the age of 16. She's just phenomenal human being. And but she's usually she's another one of the women in my life that's like a voice of reason, because I just fucking spiral all the time. And when she said you need to go to the doctor right now, I fucking freaked out. And I got an immediate appointment with the dermatologist. And my pregnant wife and I, we go in, we see this guy. He takes one look at it. This guy looks me dead in my face and he goes, there's something definitely going on there. And he said, I'm gonna be straight with you. How long has that been there? And I'm like, I don't know. As could have been there for 2 years in some form or fashion or another. And he goes, if that's a melanoma, you're looking at 5 years or less to live. What the fuck? I mean, she starts crying. We just got married. We're thinking we're starting a family. And this dude just telling me I could be looking at less than 5 years to live. He cut it off immediately. And they sent it to the lab. And when it came back, it was not a melanoma, but it was called a dysplastic nevi, which he said is precancerous lesion. So he was like, you're good for now, but you have to come back like immediately. And I need to excise more of the tissue in the area to make sure there are no other abnormal cells, or this could come back and kill you. And he was like, do not ever fucking get in a tanning bed again. So I know there's billions probably of people that use tanning beds all the time. I'm not telling anybody not to do it. I'm sure I'm just one really unlucky person. But what I am fucking telling you is if you're tanning in beds frequently, you better be checking your moles. And if you've got one that turns black or multicolored or changes shapes rapidly, that shit is no joke, man. That'll kill you way faster than fucking any of this gear we're using. So if you're in those beds, man, check your whole body, head to toe. And there's like tools online. If you have one that you're like, this is suspicious, you can even like take a picture. They have apps now. You could take a picture and the AI will look at the mole and tell you whether they think you should go to the doctor or not. So, man, I got something going on my chest. Excuse me. My dad's got pneumonia right now. I hope I haven't picked something up. All right. So what else can I talk about while I'm on here? Let me go back up because I was responding to somebody else. Oh yeah, we're talking about tanning beds. Is it possible to crash a person's estrogen taking test by taking test E at 500? No. If you're only taking test, you're definitely like, there's no way for your estrogen to crash. I mean, unless you have some kind of tumor or something, maybe. Thanks, John. Let's see. I'm doing an echocardiogram in the next month. Yeah, I really need to get one. That cough that I have is chronic, and I'm not entirely positive that I don't have. I keep flirting with the idea that I might have like a congestive heart failure from all the shit that I've done, and I get some symptoms. I don't know. I don't think I think what I have now, the cough that I have now seems to be bacterial because it's green. But usually I cough up clear fluid like multiple times a day. Although that's also consistent with my allergies. I don't know, dude. You know, I don't want to go to the doctor. The thing is going to the doctor, and I have a new client who I mean, if I don't say his name, I guess it doesn't matter. Yeah, so I think I can talk about this. So I have a new client that he sent me his blood work, and his prolactin level was fucking meteoric. Like it was, I looked at that paper and I said, oh God, this guy's got a prolactinoma. I happen to research a lot of shit that has to do with the body. And I had never seen prolactin level that high in a man. And sure enough, when we got to talking, he was like, yeah, dude, I actually do have a prolactinoma. And so prolactinoma is it's basically a tumor. It's not malignant. It's a benign growth on the pituitary gland. It causes your body to mass produce prolactin, which is what cabergoline was made for. And so it was just crazy that I happened to have a just insane amount of knowledge about this drug and this condition, because pretty much anytime you're reading a study about Caber, you're probably reading a study about somebody who has a prolactinoma. And so, yeah, I mean, this shit's very rare. It's like 1 in 100,000 people have it. And it just so happens my first week of trying to coach, I met some guy who actually has one. So we've got him off to the doctor to try to get that in line first, because I mean, bodybuilding around something like that's going to be extremely difficult. I don't know if there's any type of growth like that that would eat up your estrogen. I don't think that there are. So, it's like most of the other comments. First time experiment with Anadrol. First time ever. Yeah. Hey Jim, what's going on? Yeah, again, I was devastated to read that. I know I need to go get a cardio workup. I got a lot of medical shit that I need to do. I need to go get my lower teeth done. I just keep putting it off. I need to stop fucking around. So first time doing Anadrol. I made a video about this. I love Anadrol. Anadrol ended up being a really, really great hormone. It's got a lot of benefits. One of the things that I steered away from Anadrol for a long time because I I listened to the bros again, who told me it was crazy hepatotoxic, and I just couldn't believe it. Like, I was having a hard time buying it because, I mean, it's FDA approved, and it's FDA approved at the dose that I was going to be using, which is 50 milligrams a day. And actually talked to some doctors. There's a handful of like actual medical doctors who follow my channel for whatever reason. And they're like, dude, I have patients that run Anadrol for extended periods of time. You're probably going to be fine on your liver. So, so I started doing Anadrol, and like any other oral, I mean, it slaps you in the face immediately. It gives me a tremendous amount of intensity. My experience with Anadrol was actually not that it gave me like insanely more strength than like an Anavar. It definitely felt overall better to me than D-bol. D-bol has a great feel to it, but it's actually too intense for me. If I have a video on my channel that gets a lot of attention, and I really probably should delete it, but I pinned the comment. It's called "What It's Like Doing T-ball," and don't trust anything I said in that video because the T-ball turned out to be D-bol. So I actually love Anadrol. It put weight on me. It put strength on me. I was prepared to cope with it because I do believe that Anadrol will increase your prolactin levels. So I was already on Tren and Caber. I think it improved my appetite. Unfortunately, I can't give you the best Anadrol review from a purely bodybuilding context because we actually went out of town in our RV when I first started taking it. And so, I say that the strength gains were not crazy. And honestly, I have no way of really judging that because I've done multiple Anavar cycles where I was logging all my workouts and I was in the gym 5-6 days a week. And then I started Anadrol in this weird portion of our life. And I used it basically as part of my anti-catabolic routine when I was up the side of a fucking mountain, playing alone in the woods. And so I've been giving some thought. I have it on my nightstand, actually. When I started the MK677 and my wife and I were fighting, my attitude toward fights with my wife is that she pisses me off really, really badly. And I go, I'm taking 4 grams of gear. Like, that's what I want to do to like get back at her, is I'm not leaving. Like, I'm just not leaving my wife. Like, she would have to fucking cheat. She would have to do something really bad, like really, really bad for me to actually leave. I'm not leaving my wife. But I am an asshole, and I will like try to get even with her in some way that won't end our marriage. So generally, if we get in a really bad fight and she says mean shit to me that hurts my little precious feelings, then my way of retaliating is to jump on some retarded cycle or to go blow gigantic amounts of money on frivolous shit. Like, that's basically the worst thing that I'll do. Like, I'm not going to cheat on her. I'm not going to do anything like really bad. Those are just like my juvenile ways of dealing with it. So I felt great on the Anadrol. I really felt great on it the entire time. The only problem I have basically one problem with orals, and this has been true of D-bol, it has been true of Anadrol, and it has been true of Anavar. And it's the biggest reason that I absolutely do not do any short-acting esters. I don't do any propionate esters. I don't do any acetate esters. My brain just cannot handle the spiky, like when you take an Anadrol or an Anavar, I feel that psychologically really fast. Within 30 to 40 minutes maximum, I'm just like pumped to the max. I spent a lot of time on Anadrol, like speed walking around the neighborhood or just running all over the woods with my air rifle, hunting squirrels. Like, it just gives me so much fucking energy. I cannot sit still. It makes me feel manic. And like, if I'm in the gym or if I have something to pour my energy into, then I absolutely love the way orals feel. But when I'm sitting around the house trying to watch TV with my wife and my fucking gears are going 4,000 miles an hour, it just feels like a constant panic attack. And so it's not comfortable. I think, and I know I probably shouldn't do this, but at this point, like, what does it matter? I may actually start doing something that I usually tell everybody else not to do. I may start using like 10 milligrams of Anavar, or maybe an A-bomb, probably not an Anadrol. I don't know. I may just start using that shit once a day as a fucking pre-workout. I have been considering it. Especially Anavar, because damn it, I fucking love Anavar. Do you feel down when you stop Anavar? Jen, it's hard to really say, because basically every time I run Anavar, it's as a Kickstarter. So like I would typically run Anavar if I was just like, if I was coming from an off phase, and let's say I decided to do, 500 test, 200 or 300 tren, and some more shit, maybe some mass. Like, let's say that's the cycle I was starting from my cruise. Then I would start pinning all those long esters, and I would jump immediately on Anavar, because like it's weird effect, like when you go on cycle, your brain is like, okay, I'm on cycle, but you're fucking kind of not on cycle until the 4-week mark. And so I don't want to wait 4 weeks. Like, definitely things are happening, but like I want to feel on right away. And so I start the Anavar immediately, and then I usually run it for 4-6 weeks tops, because it's actually toxic to my liver. My liver is shitty. And so by the time I pull the Anavar out of the equation, all of my other hormones are kicking in full swing. And so I've never really, I wouldn't say that I feel down coming off the Anavar, because there's too many other things in the mix. I will say this though, the first couple of weeks on Anavar feel the best. And it is a massive mood boost and intensity boost. And by week 3 or 4, when that starts to taper off, I definitely miss it, which is why I usually titrate my dose. So I'll start with 20 milligrams a day. I'll take it with caffeine. I'll get real ripped every day for the first couple of weeks. And then when I start noticing that I'm not feeling it anymore, then I'll go up to 30 milligrams and some caffeine, and I'll start feeling ripped again for a little while. And then usually by the time that second titration is wearing down in my system, the fucking trend has arrived on the scene and like bust through the fucking door and made itself well known. And it's like, fuck the Anavar, here comes the fucking God particle. And so at that point, I don't really care. Sarah could probably tell you much better about how she felt on versus off. See what else is going on over here. Yep, Anadrol is fast acting. Yeah, oh yeah, 50 milligrams of Anadrol a day is what I ran, and I had good results. The highest I've run I think I also missed a comment up there somewhere. Somebody was asking about T3 or T4. I have never run anything with my thyroid. I honestly probably need to look at that, because I've been abusing gear for so long. I don't even usually get my thyroid checked anymore. It's been a long time since I got my thyroid checked. I definitely need to do that soonish. I'm gaining weight right now again, so I'm not terribly worried about it. But I've never used T3 or T4, and my thyroid is something that's always just kind of like not front of mind, as the press secretary likes to say in her infinite fucking ignorance. Yeah, so GH, the highest GH that I have currently run is 4 IUs of GH. Would I go higher? Yeah, let me read the rest of it. Messing around with some QSC. The QSC GH is what I run at 8 IUs, and it's insane, except I've had to start T4. Okay, so when you say you've had to start T4, why did you have to start T4? Educate me on this, because like I said, I've been running GH and I've not been checking my thyroid. So why did you have to start T4 on that level of GH? I've only ever run 4 IUs. The GH cranks my resting pulse through the roof. And so it puts me in this state where I am burning so many calories at rest that I just cannot fucking eat enough to function. I mean, I can't gain weight. Like, I'll just be laying in bed watching TV. My resting pulse will be at least 100 beats a minute. If I walk from the bedroom to the kitchen to get a Dr. Pepper, my pulse is up to 116 before I use GH. So I think that's how GH works, though. Like, when people talk about what a great fat burner GH is, it's like, well, yeah. If you're laying in the bed and your pulse is equivalent to walking 3 miles on a treadmill, then yeah, that shit's gonna burn a lot of fucking muscle. Burn a lot of fat. You're just like doing cardio on your back. And so that's why, from like my clients that are struggling with weight loss, it's like, let's get your resting pulse rate cranking, because there's calculators online where you can plug in, like, if your resting pulse is, say, 80 beats a minute for 24 hours, how many calories do you burn? And then change it to 100, and you'll be shocked. It's like 800 calorie difference. Love the mind muscle. Yeah, dude, you're right. Dutch anime gains the mind muscle connection on Anavar. It might be second to none. Anavar is just a fucking amazing drug. I could not say enough good things about Anavar. The one thing I will say about Anavar that blows my mind is this drug. I don't know if you know this, but Anavar was basically created as an anti-catabolic agent to be used with burn victims, primarily minors. They give it to kids. They give it to female little girl. They give it to little girls. They give it to little boys. So I've done a not small amount of research on this, and when you if you're burned, like if you're in a fire and you catch on fire and you get fourth degree burns over large parts of your body, something that happens inside your body causes you to go into this incredibly catabolic state. And so one of the things that can actually lead to burn victims dying is not necessarily the burns themselves. It's just that they wither away because they have the catabolism of their tissues is so aggressive. And so, I take 20 milligrams of Anavar and I feel the fuck out of that. Like, I'm really feeling it. And they give doses of, to little kids that are surprisingly high. I mean, I guess if you're all burned in a hospital bed, you're probably not worrying about the fact that you feel ripped. It's probably just making they're probably sedated or something. I don't know what condition they're in, but the thing that blows people act like Anavar is a girl drug. That's bullshit, guys. That shit is that if you don't take Anavar because you think it's for girls, you are missing out on one of the single greatest compounds ever made by man. It is a phenomenal feeling. Let's see. No, Joseph, I've never run Boldenone. I'm like so close to ordering some because I'm about to. This is what I mean, dude. I'm probably getting ready to add 500 milligrams of Boldenone to my cycle for no other reason than over the course of the last few years, I've been asked maybe 2,000 times if I've ever run Boldenone. And so I just want to be able to hurry up and run it so I can go, yeah, this is what my experience was. Because everybody asked me about it. The reason I don't run Boldenone is because it's an undesolinate ester. It's super long acting. It takes forever to kick in. You have to run high doses, and it mass produces red blood cells. And like I get purple, like I'm purple and red all over all the time. And I just think I'll be donating blood every other fucking week. And I hate donating blood. I've actually been considering trying to drop blood in my my bathtub. Like I have big ass, when you go to donate blood, they hit you with that 18 gauge. They shove that 18 gauge needle in your arm, and then they just drain it into a bag. But it's a pain in the ass. I got to make an appointment. I got to go down there. I got to fill out their fucking questionnaire. I got to get my blood pressure checked so they can tell me my blood pressure is a little bit too high, and fill out the stupid 40-point questionnaire. It's the same questionnaire every fucking time. Like, how many times do I need to tell you that I did not travel to Africa in the fucking 80s and I don't have HIV? fuck? It's like every single time you answer the same dumb fuck ass question here, and then you go lay on this fucking bed for 30 minutes. It's just a pain in the ass. I've been thinking about honestly taking one of my big ass drawing syringes that's like got the 18 gauge needle and the big ass barrel and just banging that shit in my arm and sitting in the bathtub for a little while and just let it run into like a bowl and weigh that shit and then keep it pushing. You know, like it's nice that I can help save somebody's life, but man, y'all got to make this shit more convenient. So no, I haven't run Boldenone. I'm probably going to. What's the hey Jim, what when you talk about I started without his expertise, what's the most you've ever run, if you don't mind saying? When you say you took 5 times what you should have, if you don't mind answering, I don't want to put you on the spot, but if you don't mind, I would like to know, you know, what you've run and how that happened. My best friend daughter was burned horribly. Yeah, damn girl, I'm sorry to hear that too, but yeah, it's crazy. Life is better with Jay. Usually 1 gram a test, 9 milligrams, 1 gram a test, 900 milligrams Deca, 600 milligrams mast, or 600 tests, 600 trends, 600 mast. Who asked this question? At J Life is better. I guess I missed the question. That's a healthy fucking cycle. I can't. I have. See, 20 is the most at one point. So, how did you feel? Like, were you ripped? Like, were you fucking really? Were you really feel it? That was 10. That's a lot for a girl. How did that feel? Yeah, I bet. I bet. Yeah, I bet you did feel depressed coming off of that. I can't imagine. Like that's one of those deals where you definitely had like a full-blown roid cycle. And I have to get out of bed though. Are you sick? Currently running 400 tests. Yeah, Sarah just started 20 milligrams Primo, so we're gonna see what that does. She's probably come up on the one week mark. Man, I was gonna say no depression. Oh yeah, fuck yeah. Damn Jen. I mean, I hate to be I'm the world's worst when it comes to drugs. Like you're never gonna get any good perspective from me. My wife tells me that I'm like the worst drug pusher known to man. Given all the shit that you've been through, girl, I mean, fucking take the Anavar, dude. Like, I would, damn, I would. I hate to say that. I shouldn't push that on. I'm not pushing, but you know, the thing is, if you take the Anavar, it's gonna mute your emotions a little bit, which you could probably use right now. And it's gonna give you that energy and that drive, and it's gonna get you focused on something positive. You know, it's going to get you up and moving around. You're going to start seeing positive gain. Like that's the thing. People like for some stupid reason in our world, the entire medical community wants to treat people who are going through a bad time, a rough time with circumstances in life. And it's always like, here's an SSRI, which is the worst thing to take. Do you guys know I've read multiple studies that SSRIs are one of the go-to drugs for pedophiles because it massively reduces their sex drive. And they just hand that shit out to everybody like that's the miracle cure. It's like, yeah, you don't care that your cat died or got run over by a car, and you have but you have no sex drive, and all you do is sit around and smile at the fucking daisies on the wallpaper. It's like it's a terrible fucking thing to do. There's so many hormones that are so psychoactive that can really get you over a hump in life. And I would do it, man. I don't know that I'm not telling you do 20, but yeah, fuck the antidepressants. That's the worst thing you can possibly do. If you get on a little bit of Anavar, start low, titrate up as needed. Because that's the cool thing about Anavar. Like I like to titrate it. I don't want to jump out the window on a dose. Even if I could handle 50 milligrams a week, it's like, why would I miss out on all that, all those weeks of feeling really good? So even if I was going to take 50, I would still rather do 20, I mean, go to 30 and then go to 50, or like do 25, 35, 50, so that I can stretch out all of that fucking amped up, pumped up, feel good. So I think, you know, if you get on it, you know, it'll help offset some of the intense emotionality you're feeling. And then it'll give you some drive and it's something to pour yourself into. And I think it could be good for sure. Am I missing? GH at that level is increasing T3 to T4 conversion a ton. It gets to a point where the body cannot keep up with the conversion rate, and you'll get low T4 and low T3. Okay, I'm gonna have to do some research on that. Let's see. Oh, by the way, I took. Oh, the way I took too much was I didn't know 10 milligram was 0.4. Oh, yeah. So you crushing pills? Yeah, that's the thing with So for the ladies or for anybody who's taking Anavar, I mean, it works for anybody. If you get a 10 milligram Anavar pill, and you're gonna split that. Oh, it's liquid. Oh, damn. Anavar suspension. Wow. Okay. That one thing that Sarah's had to do in the past when I was getting Anavar from Pharmacom Labs, you know, you get a 10 milligram Anavar pill, but it doesn't weigh 10 milligrams, you know, so she'd have to weigh the pill, find out what the pill weight was, and then do some math. So like, let's say if she's got a 10 milligram Anavar pill, but she only wants to take 5 milligrams a day, then she has to take the total weight of the pill, divide that by 4, and she takes one of those fourths per day, which is this tiny little amount of powder that you have to weigh out. I mean, extra T4, good to take some T. So is this, like, again, I don't know anything about T4, T3. Is this something I have to go to the doctor to get? Both GH and Trin will increase conversion of T4 greater than T3. So TSH might bump up with some exotic, without some exotic. So what is the downside? Like, what's going to happen? Like, what is the side effects of my T4 being out of range? I told him he was going to have to get bigger bottles. Yeah. Yeah. Again, I don't want to be too, I guess it doesn't matter. You know, if I'll just put to you like this, Jen, if you happen to live in a country where steroids are legal, which is how we get around this, because some countries they're legal. QSC, for example, has 10 grams of Anavar raw powder for, I think it's like $55, something crazy cheap, 10 grams. Okay. So like you'll have Anavar forever, and it comes in like this. It looks like sugar crystals, really, which is how one of the ways you can tell Anavar is real. It should not be powdery. It should be more like a little crystal. And yeah, yeah. And it's super easy to dose. So like when I take their Anavar, those little crystals just dissolve under your tongue, and then you don't even have to. You get less of the first pass effect. It's less negative on your liver. It dissolves really easy. And so like what Sarah, with the capsules, what Sarah will do is she'll kind of pre-measure out all of her shit, and then she'll put them in gel caps that you can get from Amazon, and then she'll just have the gel caps all ready to go, so she can just grab one, pop it in. Okay, cool. T4 from PCT247. Those guys are great. I don't know what happened with his. He was going to get his website set up and get me a. Oh no shit, Jen. He's going to get his website set up and send me a code for you guys. I need to follow up with him. Maybe he decided that I was going to send too much business. I don't know. But yeah, PCT 247 is legit. He doesn't have a website right now. He's all email. You can look him up on MesoRx and get his email, or you can hit me up on Instagram. I'll send it to you. Tell him I sent you. He's a solid dude. And the cool thing about PCT 247 is it's all pharma grade. It's India pharma grade, but it's all pharma grade. So it's not underground lab shit. Comes in all the like straight over the counter boxes, lot numbers. I've used shit, man. I don't know, everything from antibiotics to anti-nausea meds to I've used a bunch of their shit, dude. And that's how I treated my C. diff. I had C. diff because I got a sty on my eye, and my stupid ass decided that I was going to run cephalexin. I had some cephalexin antibiotics laying up here, and I ran like two weeks of cephalexin and fucking got C. diff from it. And I spotted it because there's like some real telltale symptoms of C. diff. And I jumped right on PC22. I hit him up and had him send me some metronidazole. 10 days of metronidazole, C. diff gone. Never had to go to the doctor. Never had to do any embarrassing labs. Because that's the thing, dude. If you think you have C. diff, it's very rare. You probably will never get C. diff. I've had it twice now. It's fucking humiliating, dude. You go to the doctor and you tell them that you can't stop going to the bathroom, which is embarrassing enough. And then they make you sit there until you can go to the bathroom in this little plastic, like fucking Tupperware. And then you have to take it to this poor person who has to handle this. It's like, it's so humiliating. And so fuck that. I'll just treat it at home. Yeah. So I don't know why. I guess I could talk about this shit. I don't know why I can't. I've only used a couple sources. I've used Pharmacom Labs with great results. They are phenomenal. I'm not going to say anything negative about them. Everything comes in very professional packaging. I usually would only get it domestic. They've got holographic labels so that you can scratch the code and find out if your shit's legit. But I will admit that it was Pharmacom Labs who sold me T-ball that was D-ball. So they're not flawless, guys. And they also sold me, the first time I ever crashed my estrogen, I couldn't understand what was going on. I was taking my totally normal Arimidex dose that I knew was dialed in, and I crashed my estrogen fucking hard. And I know it was crashed because it was the first time that I did it, and I didn't know what the fuck was wrong with me. And I went to the doctor and pulled my blood work, and my E2 level came back less than 0.2, I think. Like I had no estrogen. Now, meanwhile, I looked phenomenal. Like I looked amazing. I've never been so dry and peeled. Even these most recent videos where I was really peeled, that shit does not compare to having zero estrogen. You knock the estrogen completely out of your body and you will be fucking shrink wrapped all over. But you feel like absolute dog shit. And you think your wife's a man. I'm not getting into it again. So anyway, what happened was they sold me a Arimidex, but they sent me what's it called? It's the suicide inhibitor, not Aromasin. Damn it, letrozole. They sent me letrozole. So I think I'm taking a Arimidex that's going to slowly control my my fucking E2, and they actually sent me letrozole, and it just bang knocked it right in the floor. So I mean, all the injectables I got from them were good, but they are expensive as shit. So like a single bottle of Test C250 is like $70 fucking dollars. Trends like $110 bottle. Primo's like $140 bottle. QSC, on the other hand, has no packaging. Their customer service has gotten a lot better, but it's not great. And but you spend $85, you get 10 milliliter bottles of Test E or Test C. $110 gets you 10 milliliter bottles of Tren E, 200 milligrams per milliliter. It is fucking filthy cheap, but there's no glitz and no glamour. It's all as basic as you can get. But the one thing I'll say for QSC is 100% of the products that they've sent me were what they claimed they were. 100%. So, you just got to pick your battles, I guess. The problem with QSC right now is, so here's a weird thing that about the underground roid market that you may, isn't suicide? Oh, weird, weird. I thought letrozole was suicide inhibitor. Good to know. The thing that I don't know if you guys know about the underground roid market is most of this shit comes from China, right? So at least the raws do, and that's what QSC used to do. QSC used to make the raws that they sold to like Pharmacom Labs and everybody else that did the bottling and and sold the gear, right? So they used to be a raw manufacturer, and then they decided to go into manufacturing themselves. In China, it's totally legal to produce anabolic steroids as long as they don't sell their product into China. So the Chinese government doesn't care. Their QSC is operating totally legally inside their country. So there's no fear of, them like disappearing off the face of the earth necessarily from legality standpoint, because they're totally within their legal, which is why you can't get certain things. Like they won't sell anything. Like you can't get Xanax, you can't get opiates, you can't get any of that shit. So the Chinese government allows people with the right licenses and stuff to manufacture in China as long as they distribute outside of their borders. And so that's what they do, and they're like fucking bulletproof basically. But now they're like moving their entire business to WhatsApp. I guess they're still taking some email orders. I don't know yet. I've been following this on Mezzo. There's something weird going on where they only want to deal on WhatsApp, and a lot of guys feel like that's not secure. I don't have WhatsApp. I don't know anything about that. And so a lot of guys are freaking out about what they call OPSEC. Like some guys are like really like, I have my own operational security. Like I don't store shit in my house like in large quantities. I know I don't store enough to get in big trouble. Like I have tiny, tiny little amounts in my house, and then everything else is somewhere else. So that if you come try to raid me, congratulations, you got a couple of misdemeanors out of me. So like I do some things to protect myself, mainly because I make these videos and I'm afraid it makes me a target. And so I'm not gonna let somebody win by coming in here and catch me with a whole bunch of shit. But for the most part, it seems to be relatively under the radar. I don't know. Maybe I'll get arrested tomorrow, So who knows? But some guys are really paranoid about it, and other guys are just like, whatever. So I'm probably yammering again. Let's see what do we got here. We'll cut mass in half from next and half per month. Yeah, go to doctors, get antidepressants. Wish I could tell them about a cycle. Yeah, dude. Fuck antidepressants. I should make a whole conspiracy. Oh, by the way, you guys are not watching. My video on climate change is a banger. You guys need to go watch that video. I think some of y'all are like, oh, he's not talking about steroids. I don't care. That's a fucking good video. You guys should look at that shit. Climate change is actually something that really fucking matters. And you should look at that video. I think you'll enjoy it if you actually give it a try. But the conspiracy SSRIs are like, I could make an entire conspiracy theory video about SSRIs. That's a government fucking operation, just intent on turning everybody into fucking yes men robots. Like that's the thing. The reason they hate steroids is because it makes you actually human. It makes you volatile. It makes you horny. It makes you want to chase girls. It makes girls chase dudes. It makes you feel good about yourself. You feel driven. You feel confident. You look better than everybody around you. Like there's so many pros to anabolic steroids, but none of the pros that you get from anabolic steroids are good for the government. None of them, you don't do steroids and go, oh, I think I will just follow all of your orders to a T now, sir. That's not what happens. It makes you way more volatile, way more fucking likely to fucking stir the pot and rock the fucking boat. And that's not what they want. They want us all to be brain dead fucking robots that just mindlessly drive to work and work shitty jobs and pay our fucking taxes and ignore everything that's going on. And so they don't like to talk about hormones. It's changing slowly. We're getting enough doctors that are pulling their heads out of their asses, but those antidepressants are a fucking scam. Here is a cabergoline shortage. You can get cabergoline from PCT 247. Yeah. Where do I keep my E2 levels to feel good? I talked about this in my Masteron video. I'll mention it really briefly. I like my estrogen level to stay right in the middle of the range. Yes, they do. Dutch Anime Gains. They have a warehouse where you can get product domestic. They have a domestic European warehouse, and then you could always order international. The way international works is they use a reshipper. So, because nobody wants to get a letter from customs, right? So what they do is if you have to order, I'm probably giving away, I probably should be talking about any of this shit. I mean, fuck, it's on their web, it's on the, they publicize it, so I don't know why they would give a fuck. Basically, what you definitely don't want to be doing is importing things illegally into the country. This is decidedly bad. You should not do this. Do not do it. I'm not telling you to do it. I have never done it. I love the American government and all of the Phoebes, and I think they're all phenomenal people. And they clearly have made all of their laws the most sensible laws that they could make for all of our protection, right? So if you are a degenerate and you don't agree with all of the statements that I just made, which are obviously true, then what they do if you have to order international is they don't ship it from China to your front door. They ship it from China to a third party who is not you, that's in the United States. And then that third party ships it from them domestically to you. So even if you get something international, it still actually is domestic because it never went through customs with your name on it. So see, you don't have to break any laws because that's bad and you shouldn't do it. And you should love your government. Anyway, yeah, so my E2 level, I keep right in the middle of the range. I always want my E2 right around 15, give or take, like 15 or slightly above. If my E2 gets, yeah, I'll let John handle that. If my E2 gets out of range, even a little bit, so like let's say my E2 is 42, which actually it has been. When I first got on TRT, they gave me 200 milligrams of testosterone C per week, and they gave me 1 milligram of Arimidex. And in about 2 weeks, maybe 3, my nipples were puffy and sensitive. And I sent them an email, and I was like, I think my estrogen's out of whack. And they're like, no, it's not. This is normal. You're getting temporary nipple sensitivity because it's just new to your body. Your body's just having a short-term reaction that's going to go away. I'm like, okay, cool. 2 weeks later, there's a lump behind my fucking nipple. So I emailed them again. And I'm like, no, but for real, I have fucking gyno and this needs to be looked at. And they're like, why? So I told them I have a lump. And then they're like, oh shit. So they literally, like, in 15 minutes, Royal Men's sent me a lab authorization to go get my blood work pulled. And so I went and got my blood work pulled, and my estrogen was like 42 in a range of up to 29. That's how I was on 200 milligrams of test, 1 milligram of Arimidex. I made a whole video about this. All of my blood work is online to prove this. 200 milligrams of test, 1 milligram of Arimidex, and my E2 level was 42, whatever it is, picograms per milliliter, I think. And I was developing breast tissue, or I was developing swollen glandular tissue behind my nipples. Some of that was permanent. So all these people are like, you don't have to worry. Bull fucking shit. You guys really need to stop telling people that, because you're lucky if your glands don't respond to estrogen. I have done permanent damage to my body, permanent. If you look at my recent pose down videos, you can see that when I put my arms up like this, my right nipple is puffy. If I touch, like, Nobody wants to see this, but I'm gonna show you anyway. That right there, see how there's like something between my fingers right there? That's a gland. That whole thing that I'm pinching right there is a gland, and it never goes away. I have them on both sides now. See how wide that gland is? It's completely behind my entire nipple. It stretches all the way over here. You see how I can get that right there? There's glandular tissue that runs all the way across here. If my estrogen gets like 40 or something, that whole spot that I just showed you that I can squeeze, that's hard, will become inflamed. And if I bump up against something, if I lay on my stomach, it hurts to the touch. Those glands will never go away. And prolactin will inflame them. Estrogen will inflame them. The only thing I can do now is go get gyno surgery. And so every time I allow my estrogen to get out of the range and my nipples start getting sore, I'm just making that worse. And it could get to the point that it would be unsightly. It's borderline unsightly to me now when I'm really lean. You can if I lift my arms up, you can see it now. It will never go away. So when guys tell somebody like, "Oh, bro, you're on 600 milligrams of test, it's cool if your estrogen's 80." Bullshit. You could potentially damage a man's body for life. I take this shit as seriously as I take telling girls like, "Oh yeah, you can run fucking 50 milligrams of Winnie and you can run some fucking Anavar and Supremo, you're going to be fine." Bullshit. She's not going to be fine. You know, not if she cares about her voice, not if she cares about not having a giant fucking bush, not if she cares about not having a micro penis. If you run all that shit, it's going to fuck you up. Some girls are more sensitive than others. I am very sensitive. And so when guys just haphazardly tell people like, "Oh, you don't have to worry about it," you don't know that. You could be talking to some dude like me, and then this guy has to go get fucking surgery to fix something that was totally preventable. So like I have guys tell me in the comments, "Well, bro, yeah, technically, if you keep your estrogen low, then you'll make leaner gains, but you won't get as big as you could get." It's like, who gives a fuck? What good would it do for me to be fucking Ronnie Coleman and have like fucking little A tits with a training bra on? Like, I don't want that shit. You've seen guys on stage that look like this. It's terrible fucking looking. I would rather be my size now with no fucking titties than to gain 10 pounds and put, you know, turn what is right now basically like a grape into a fucking giant walnut. This is not worth it. If you microdose daily with 30 milligrams ED, it would be in range. See, I mean, it's like, yeah, I've had people tell me that. We'll switch to prop and pin it every day. Fuck that. I've got something that works. That's the thing. I don't know why everybody's always trying to tell me do this different. What I can do is I can take 200 milligrams of test and 1.5 milligrams of Arimidex, and I'm perfect. Or I can take 500 milligrams of test and 3 milligrams of Arimidex, and I'm perfect. And so, like, I'm now going to embark on trying to play this game again because I'm, like the title of the video says, I'm going to try to master the Masteron, but I may fuck my shit up trying to do it. Like, maybe in 6 months' time, y'all will be watching a new video titled "What It's Like to Have Gyno Surgery." Like, fuck, dude. It's crazy sensitive. Viagra stomach. I have that on Cialis. Interesting, the variance in E2 per person to person. I feel at 15, but at 30 to 35, I'm A1. I feel like crap. At the end of the day, all we can do is compare. Yeah, that's the thing, Jen. Everybody's fucking different. So like all we're doing in this community is just sharing notes. And that's why like I started my whole channel, because that's why you can't trust. And that's why like I hate when some guy asks me for like a real definitive thing. Like I'll get this pretty often. Like I'll get like some guy will hit me up on Instagram and he'll be like, "Hey bro, I'm starting my first cycle. I'm doing 500 milligrams of test. How much Arimidex do I need to take?" And if you've ever been the person who sent me that message and you got ghosted, it's because, dude, it's too long. There's no way for me to know. And I'm not every single person that messaged me on IG. I'm not going to go through the whole explanation that you can't possibly know. You have to get your blood work done regularly and you know, dial it in. Nobody wants to hear that they're going to have to do actual work. Everybody just wants to stab needles in their ass and gain 20 pounds overnight. And so I just don't even answer the question because it's too variable. What's the recovery time from gyno surgery? I actually talked to my wife. The guy that did my wife's breast implants told me he would do it for me. I don't remember exactly what he said the recovery was. It was slightly less than I expected, but it's, you know, it's probably, I can't remember if he said 6 weeks. I don't know if she's still in here, if she remembers what he said. It was longer than I wanted to do. I mean, you know, like I don't want to fucking miss that much gym. And then you've got like cuts around your nipples and like, I don't know. I mean, he did a great job on her, but obviously I want to avoid it at all costs. I don't remember exactly what the recovery is. Joe had it done. Joe Lindner did it. I remember him talking about getting it done, and he had the whole. They wrap you like they did my wife. They wrap your tits with like gauze or whatever. I don't think he was down that long, but that was one of the things. Really, I started following. I started paying more attention to Joe when he did that because I felt for bro in the most intense way. So you know, Joe lived and breathed being diced to the bone. Like that was his whole brand. And when he had his gyno surgery and he had to get off all the shit and he wasn't training, and Joe at his worst looked like 90, you know, like looked like most of us at our absolute best. But it fucked him up psychologically. You could tell, like he psychologically, he was not feeling the way that he looked when he looked totally normal. Like, you know, he just looked like a totally normal, jacked as fuck dude that just had water and like a tiny little bit of body fat on his belly. And he could not wait to get back on gear. I remember when post surgery, he made this video. He got back on a shit ton of Primo, and he made this crazy video where he was like, "Bruzza, I can feel the supplements. The supplements are working." And he is just like, I love that guy, dude. I hate that he's gone, man. I love that. The guy had the greatest fucking energy and that smile and shit, dude. And he just fucking lived for this shit. And I think the reason that I had such an affinity for him is because I totally get like his mentality, you know, like I'm addicted to feeling this way and looking this way. And, you know, like that's one of the reasons I don't want to get my teeth done. Like my teeth were, I can get my teeth done and be back in the gym 2 weeks. I did it last time. So it's real minor. It's not, you're not missing shit. You know what I mean? But, you know, it's hard psychologically. I just can't, I don't do as well when I'm not chasing something, cutting, growing, doing something. All the inject dailies. Recovery time would be 3 days if you take BPC 157, TB 500, and GH. 3 days. Your sutures are going to heal 3 days, and you can go do bench press. If that's true, that'd be great. Let's see. Let us see the photo of your ex in swimsuit. At least give us the dimensions. What did you go to sell for? My ex was a pretty girl. She's very beautiful face. She was thin, you know, she's not as thin as Sarah. I used to call her, well, her name's Amanda. The fuck do I care? I used to call her Amanda Squarepants because she just had this like really square body. Like she didn't have curves like at all, but she was thin. She was tiny, and she had a beautiful tan, beautiful brown hair. She was a really pretty girl, but I don't. I'm not putting. I can't post pictures in here. I don't think I'm not posting pictures of her. We're not together anymore. I'm not. Look at her. I'm not giving her last name either. What did you go to sell for? I don't know what that means. Message retracted. GH combined with BPC 157. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, this has gone on way longer than I expected. Shocking that I would sit here and just fucking run off the mouth. Any non-bodybuilding questions anybody has before I fucking wrap this up and make my wife cook me something to eat because I'm fucking starving. I should probably. I'll do it in a minute. Anybody have some conspiracy theory? Everybody's always trying to get me to talk about conspiracy theories. Then I make a conspiracy theory video about climate change. Nobody watches it. Fucking disappointed in you guys. I'm actually wounded. But I'm probably not going to talk about 9/11 other than to say, here's what I hear. Everybody wants to know my take on 9/11. Okay, here's my take on 9/11. I watched 9/11 happen on live TV. I was actually staying at my brother's apartment. I was like 20. I think I was 20 years old. Yeah, I was about to turn 21. I was just about to turn 21 when 9/11 happened. My brother, I was staying on the couch at my brother's apartment because I'd been running the streets, and it was back in my crystal meth days. And we were actually working at this company together selling home audio equipment. And my brother wakes me up off his couch. He's like, dude, like a fucking plane just hit a building in New York. And I'm like, like shaking the sleep from my eyes, like, what? And he's like, yeah. So he's got the news on. And so we're sitting there watching this, and everybody's thinking like some idiot, like, we're all like scratching our heads, like, how did somebody hit a fucking building? Like, what kind of dumb fuck ass pilot does this shit? And then while you're watching live, the second plane hits, and you start rapidly putting shit together. And so for those of us who were there, who followed that when it happened, we heard the truth. We heard the firefighters and the police and all of the people on the scene saying it was not a commercial jet. It looked like a military jet. It was all black. It was all gray. It was definitely not a commercial jet. There was no writing on the jet. Like, everybody on the scene kept saying the same fucking thing. And then as the events unfolded, everything continued to go on. They began to change the story more and more. And then, you've got another plane somewhere in Pennsylvania, and there's another one over here. And then, of course, you've got the Twin Towers that managed to free fall straight down into their own footprint. You've got the fact that a plane, a 747, flew a nearly impossible maneuver for even the best of the best of the best commercial airline pilots, whereby it flew for a very extended distance, like mere inches above the ground, in order to hit the Pentagon where it did. And there was nothing left. Isn't that amazing? In the plane that hit the Pentagon and in the field in Pennsylvania, there's this thing you probably all know. It's called a black box. And the sole purpose of the black box is that it's indestructible. It's designed to carry all of the flight data so that when a plane crashes, you can find out what the fuck happened, because the black box is recoverable. There was no black box at the Pentagon. There was no engine parts. There was no fuselage parts. There were no seats. There were no nothing, because a plane did not hit that fucking building. A plane did not crash in the field in Pennsylvania and vaporize into confetti. But coincidentally, it was amazing. It was amazing. It was the craziest thing that you could have possibly conceive of would happen. The black boxes that are designed by very, 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 very smart people, built out of nearly indestructible material to survive any and all plane crashes, those were nowhere to be found. But what was found in nearly perfect condition was the fucking passports of both of the fucking pilots. Dude, if anybody really needs to hear anything more than this, like, I can't help you, okay? There's so much data out there. It's like asking, do I think Lee Harvey Oswald shot JFK? Come on, bro. Really? Nobody believes this shit anymore. We all know it's bullshit. We all know that the fucking government was responsible. Nobody believes any of this shit. The reason that there's no real point in talking about conspiracy theories, and the most depressing fact about this entire topic, let's just say for the sake of arguments, okay? For the sake of arguments, let's take the most extreme anti-government position you could take, okay? So let's, for the sake of arguments, real briefly, say that all of the conspiracies are true. Okay, that we knew that the Japanese were coming to bomb Pearl Harbor and we didn't do anything, and the government didn't do anything about it. That the government lied about the conditions in certain camps in Nazi Germany. That the government was responsible for the hit on JFK. That the government was responsible for 9/11. Let's say they're responsible for everything. Okay. Assume that every one of these events was absolutely not an accident, but in fact, government orchestrated hits. Okay. So that's what we believe. Let's say that's even been proven. Now what? What are you going to do? We all already know this on some level, but what are you going to do about it? Are we going to what? Everybody's going to rise up? They won't. Everybody's going to what? Like in mass stop paying taxes? They won't. The problem is that Americans are weak. We have become very, very weak. The American people have had so many fucking reasons to rise up against the tyranny of their own government. I mean, I could count 10 times in my lifetime that we should have risen up and overthrown these, but it's never going to happen, guys. And the government knows it. So people can spend all this time debating these things. We can get angry about them. We can compare notes. They can make 15 movies about 9/11. They can make movies about JFK. We can all sit around here and do all this shit, but none of it matters unless you are willing to pick up a fucking rifle and go stand a post. Unless the American people get pissed off enough that we are all willing to go out into the streets and take back our freedom, then the government, until that day comes, the government's just going to keep fucking us in the ass over and over and over again. They're lying about UFOs right now. Now they're UAPs. There's so much going. They're lying to you about climate control or the climate crisis. They're lying. It's like everything. They lie about every fucking thing. Nothing is real. I don't even believe we are living in base reality anymore. The biggest reason I do the vast majority of things, you want the fucking full conspiracy theory? I really believe we are living in the fucking Matrix. I really do. I really do not think this is real. There is zero part of me left that believes that we are actually living in anything other than a fucking video game, a simulation. And maybe that's my coping mechanism. Maybe that's just become my religion. It's what makes this tolerable, because it's impossible for my mind to believe that we have elected politicians like Joe Biden to fuck our country up as bad as it's been fucked up. Like, I just cannot cope with that idea. I cannot believe that people are really possibly that stupid. So I have to believe that something else is going on. Yeah, I'll tell you what, anybody who like wants a take on World War II and Nazi Germany, I highly recommend you do something. It's very difficult. I'm going to admit it's very difficult. You should read this little book. It's called Mein Kampf. It was written by Adolf Hitler. You should read that book. And then what you should also do is that you should look up videos of his speeches online and see what he was talking about before we invaded him. It's highly enlightening information. It's highly, highly enlightening. You know, another thing that's really interesting to watch, the book is not banned. I've got 3 copies of it. Another thing that's very interesting to watch is the trial of Saddam Hussein. That's very entertaining too. If you've never seen the trial of Saddam Hussein, you should look at that. Because if you want another conspiracy theory, the Gulf War stinks to high heaven. Afghanistan, really suspicious. And I lost a really good friend over there. So I'm uniquely sensitive to that shit because I had a good friend in high school that I saw for the last time about it was a few years after high school. I saw him at a gas station. His name was Chad Drake. And I saw him at a high school. I mean, I saw him at a gas station and I was like, hey man, what's going on? I haven't seen you in a while. And he said he got married. He had a couple of kids and, you know, we used to party together and kind of run the streets and fuck around. And he was like, man, I joined the army. I think it was the army. And I was like, what? You did what? And he's like, yeah, dude. He was like, I got to get my shit together. I've got to get it together for my wife and kids, man. You know, I can't keep fucking up like I am. And I'm like, dude, like, come on, bro, don't do that. And he's like, it's too late. I've already signed up. I'm going. And that was the last day I ever saw him. He was sent to Afghanistan and he was the driver of a Humvee that was hit by a rocket propelled grenade. And he came home in a closed casket. It's fucked up. It was really fucked up. And that happened to way too many of our friends and relatives and people's sons and daughters. And for fucking what? For what? Because they fucking lied to us about the reason we were in Iraq. They lied to us about the reasons we were in Afghanistan. It's all bullshit, man. Y'all see, this is why I don't talk about this shit. I'm not going back down fucking memory lane with that shit anymore. All right, let's see if there's any more questions. I'm gonna get the fuck off here and go eat dinner. Give us your views on Russia, please. My view on Russia is if it wasn't so fucking cold in Russia, I'd move there tomorrow. I think they're lying their fucking asses off about Putin. Listen to him talk. Look it up, man. No, I did not serve, Ivan. I did not. Look up what Putin has to say on a number of topics. You'll probably find out you agree a hell of a lot more with him than you do with Biden. You have Finnikoff, Trinkoff? No, I'm thinking Trinkoff. Let's see. Can I do or add anything to make me look more chiseled? Yes, you can eat fewer calories. You can take drugs like Anavar or Masteron. You can use GH, and that's what you can do. Hey, Jen, have a good one. I'm so glad we could be of any help at all. I hope things get better quickly for you. What? What's your problem with masks at the moment? My problem is not with the mask. My problem is that I fucked up my testosterone dosing relative to the Masteron, and now I have my estrogen is too low. Tips to maintain strength when cutting. Been bulking for a long time and never end up cutting because I hate the strength loss. Well, one of the tips is use Trenbolone. Cutting on Trenbolone and Anavar will maintain a large portion of your strength, but there's no saving it. Like there's no, you can't avoid it. So when you cut and you go into a massive calorie deficit, you have to change your entire mindset about the gym. When you're going to the gym to get a pump, burn calories, and keep your muscles active so that everything keeps working the way it's been working. It's not about strength. And in all honesty, I think you should take strength completely out of the equation during a cut because you don't have all of the joint support that the leaner you get, the less body fat you have, the less joint support you have, and you're more likely to get injured. And so, like, you just have to understand when you start a cut, you have to reorganize the way you think about bodybuilding. And so many of us are constantly trying to set PRs, or, you know, we're constantly tracking our progress through, you know, what kind of weight we're putting up. And when you go into a cut, you have to change your way of thinking. You have to realize, okay, what I'm focused on here is getting lean and shredded and peeled and looking phenomenal. and it doesn't matter how much weight I lift. Like I'm always saying to guys, see, like the thing is, I'm not a strong guy in general, and guys will be like, "How much do you bench, bro? What's your max bench?" I'm like, 305 is my fucking max. In a lot of ways, like I'm very weak, and guys be like, "Damn, bro, you're not that strong," and I'm like, "Yeah, you know what? I've never in my fucking lifetime when I was walking down the beach in fucking Miami or on Ocean Boulevard or at a fucking nightclub or anywhere had some girl go, man, you look peeled as fuck. How much do you bench?" I didn't fucking get into bodybuilding so that I could impress bros with my fucking strength gains. I got into bodybuilding because I want to look attractive. Girls don't give two fucks how much you bench. They just want to feel fucking chiseled abs and a guy that, you know, is fucking amped up and all over them. So just, you got to stop thinking about strength. Mike, have you ever tried SARMs? Yes. I'm on Trenbolone, which lo and behold is a SARM. Trenbolone is a selective androgen receptor modulator. So I've used the SARM called Trenbolone, and I'm currently using MK677, although I don't know if that's not really a SARM. That's a ghrelin mimetic and a growth hormone agonist. So like I've never used LGD, Ostarine, what are the other popular? I've never used any of the popular fucking SARMs. I'm not opposed to them. I had really bad experience with pro hormones when I was a kid. Like they worked really good, but they caused me a lot of fucking problems and side effects. And so like I feel like I'm taking enough risks with my body using the compounds that I'm using that have been well studied for 30, 40, 50 fucking years. And I'm not really ready to jump on the bandwagon of these new experimental drugs necessarily. I've tried some of them, but I'd rather just stick to like Testrin, Mast, Deca, shit like that than fuck with SARMs. Trin has never one time affected my E2 on the blood work. D-ball. Yeah, I think my estrogen's coming back. I think we're good there. Are you guys leaving? Oh, hell yeah. Am I getting the Louis? Oh, I'm loving this. Now I'm excited as fuck. I'm getting Wingstop for dinner. Yeah. Okay, I guess I'll stay on here until my dinner comes back. Let's see what else do we have. Test is overrated. Yeah, I watched a video that Vigorous Steve did the other day about how he did a 2,500 milligram per week test cycle and how he was able to do that and keep all of his biomarkers in line. And, you know, the thing with Vigorous, I like Vigorous a lot. Like he has a lot of good information. I don't love his delivery, honestly, which is why I don't watch his videos, because I'm not going to be that guy that's hating on somebody. I usually have to speed him up quite a bit. And I just, you know, he's got good data. His delivery is just not for me. He's a great guy. And so I think I'm going to try some of his stuff like citrus bergamot, maybe berberine. I may try some of his things to see if I can control some of like my BP issues and stuff. You know, various different things that he's got some ideas about before I go, not my BP, my cholesterol, before I go get on statins. I think that there's a point where just banging more tests into the mix is not really going to result in better gains. I really am a believer of mixing compounds together, but that's just me. Yeah, Chase, man, it's everything in bodybuilding is mindset. It's 90% of the fucking game. We make it out like that's one of the things guys like they nitpick cycles a lot. They nitpick their diet a lot. This is really basic shit. I've been thinking about making a video titled, can you be a body, like can you build a bodybuilding physique at Planet Fitness? Because a lot of people will be like, I can't believe you're working out at Planet Fitness. The guy, you're big, your size, what are you doing at Planet Fitness? The muscles don't give a fuck, dude. You don't need 50 different machines. You don't need like you can get a perfectly good workout. You can build giant amounts of muscle at Planet Fitness. It doesn't fucking matter. We over analyze the vast majority of this shit way too much. Don't know if I can get in trouble, but trained over 15 to 2,000 Ukrainians in the last year in Germany here. Their general admiral literally said he doesn't want to get to know most of his soldiers. Okay. Because he said 70 to 80% will die by the end of December, and that's in tanks and armored vehicles. And that's no BS right there. I heard it with my ears. The man said it. Yeah, I don't know, dude. I honestly, I don't give two fucks about Ukraine. Maybe I should. I would care more about Ukraine if we weren't sending them massive quantities of money that keep disappearing. And if the fucking Biden administration wasn't in bed with them before this started. I think Joe Biden is maybe one of the single most evil pieces of shit that ever walked the fucking planet, and his entire regime and organization. Like, don't even get me fucking started on that guy. Joe Biden has made me absolutely give zero fucks about anything that happens in Ukraine at all, period. Trend tips for the first time. Hold the fuck on. I made too many videos to talk about that. Vigorous is cool, but he trashed one of my favorite bodybuilding personalities who desperately need help. He's rotten, selfish, just brutally smart. Again, Chevy, I'm not gonna badmouth the dude, but I will just say I hear you. I definitely hear you. Statins are shit, to be honest. Yeah, dude. I don't want to do a statin. I'm like pushing it out as the absolute last resort. So I haven't done it yet. Big dick, small pond, confidence boost of being in Planet Fitness helps the gains. Yeah, I talked about that the other day, Dale. I mean, I don't know if you were in here. I was saying, like, that's the thing. Like, when I walk into Planet Fitness, I look like fucking Ronnie Coleman. Like, I'm the biggest fucking guy in there by a long shot. Like, there's a couple of guys that come up there that are just like big guys. You know, they're like 6'3". You know, there's this one dude, this one black guy that comes up there who looks like he might be an NFL linebacker. And he's like generally just big as fuck, but he's nowhere. He might not even be on steroids. He's not lean or vascular or peeled or nothing. So like, there's definitely I wouldn't call it a big dick small pond. I would call it big fish small pond, but whatever. But yeah, like I used to work out at a bodybuilding gym, and that I was one of the biggest guys in that gym. Like I hung out with the biggest guys in there. It's certainly humbling when you're, like there was guys in there that were 225 to 245 on stage, and I'm sitting here at 202 right now. So there was definitely guys that were, a good deal bigger than me, but, and it's humbling. But yeah, like when you're a giant and you lift at Planet Fitness, like, when you're at Planet Fitness, you feel like a giant. It definitely gives you a lot of ego. The thing is that outside of a bodybuilding gym, I'm already big enough that like I never go anywhere that somebody's not saying something about my size ever. It's just non-fucking stop. The mall, Walmart, I'm already bigger and more built than 98% of people who walk the planet. So, it's like, am I the biggest guy in the world? No, not by a million fucking years, but literally, like guys who are bigger and more fucking ripped and shredded than me make up a very, very, very tiny percentage of the population. If you take high amounts of like 12 IUs plus, you can have some look. Look at Leo and longevity for blood pressure tips. I I didn't like Leo, guys. I made a video kind of ripping into Leo, actually. I was not a fan of Leo's at all. I'm sorry that he's gone. I think that there was maybe some suspicious shit happened there. But I know a lot of people in the community like Leo. I am not one of them. Keto man. Have you ever been knocked out? I've been knocked out once. Let me think. I think only one time. The one I'll talk about I thought there was a second time. I've only been knocked out one time right now that I can think of right off the bat. It's actually kind of a funny story. Might end this on. I was at a party one time when I was like in my early 20s, and I was training, like I was lifting. I wasn't roided out. I was probably like 165. I had like a Brad Pitt body in Fight Club, maybe a little bit bigger than him. Maybe I was probably bigger. I had probably more muscle and not quite as peeled as Brad Pitt in Fight Club. And I was like a punk ass, like 22-year-old kid or something. It was right before I met my wife. I was at a party, and there was a girl at this party that my brother had dated. My brother who's dead. Well, I only have one brother. He's dead. But anyway, this girl my brother had dated, she was like one of those girls that like got his heart, and it kind of broke his heart when they didn't work out. She's a little bit of a whore. She was a little bit loose. And so I'm at this party, and I've had a fuck ton to drink, dude, like a giant amount. I was drinking straight liquor, vodka all night. I'm shit-faced. And I see this girl sitting in this car. This girl my brother used to date. She's sitting in a car with 3 other guys. They like parked. It was like a big ass house party. It was like one of those parties where there's like a 2-story house in like a shitty neighborhood that somehow is like completely empty, and it's like a big backyard where all the cars are parked, and there's no furniture in the whole place. It's just like a party. I don't know how this works. And so I see this girl sitting in this car with these 3 dudes, and I fucking like stumble over there, and I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" And she's like, "Who are you?" I'm like, "You used to date my brother Doozy." And she's like, "Oh yeah." And I said something like, "He really liked you." And she's like, "Yeah, he was cool." And I was hammered, and I go, "Well, like, what are you doing hanging out with these fucking losers?" I just said that about 3 guys I never even met in life. And so like 30 minutes later or less, I don't even know, we're all out in the back of this backyard area. It was like in the spring, and it was nice outside, and we're all chilling, and I'm like plastered. And some random dude walks up, and he gets in my face, and he's like, "What'd you say about my boy Mike?" And I'm like, "I'm Mike." He's like, "No, what did you say about my boy?" I'm like all fucking drunk and confused. And I start getting irritated because I can't even follow the conversation. And I'm like, "Dude, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I don't even know who Mike is." Like, you know what? Fuck Mike. And that's the last thing I remember. Because this dude, Mike, was not the last thing. This dude, Mike, whoever the fuck that was, I have no idea who this guy was standing behind me. And the second I said, "Fuck Mike," this punk ass dude punched me in the back of my fucking head. The guy standing in front of me didn't want none. They were all like skinny, or like 2 of them were chubby. The other dude was skinny. They didn't really want to fucking fight me. They just wanted to fuck me up because I was talking shit. But none of them had the balls to actually fucking step to me. So this fucking punk ass dude punches me in the back of my fucking head. Next thing I know, I'm coming to on the ground. It's like you're all hazy and shit, and there's people like in a fucking ring around me, and I'm like trying to figure out what the fuck just happened. And one of my buddies hands me my hat, and I like put my fucking hat back on, and I'm like looking, and then I realize like somebody fucking punched me, and I started fucking like raging. I was like, "Who the fuck hit me? Who the fuck wants some?" And I'm just screaming and yelling, and there's a fucking ring of people around me, and I'm losing my fucking shit, and nobody wants any. Like, there's a whole group of people. I just literally got knocked out fucking cold. I just came to, and I'm trying to now fight again. I want to actually go toe to toe with this guy that fucking hit me, and nobody's doing anything. And my fucking buddies come grab me, and they're like, no, dude, we gotta fucking go. And like some like handler of the party is like saying, they're like throwing us out because I'm making this huge fucking scene. And so they shove me in, they like throw me into the back seat of a car, and like my ego's all running because I didn't get a chance to like redeem myself, and I'm feeling bad because I got knocked out. But it's like, what are you supposed to do? I never even saw the punch coming. And my friend is like, "Dude, are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I think I'm fucking cool, And he's like, so they start telling me, and they saw the whole shit happen. And sure enough, this one guy walked up to me, looked me in the face, he said, we saw you guys mumble some shit, and then this guy behind you just fucking cold cocked you in the back of the head. And they were like, dude, you just fucking hit the deck. Like, you went down. And then my buddy was like, the guy that was talking shit to you before you got punched, he kicked you in the fucking head while you were knocked out on the ground. Like, this is how fucked up these dudes are. And I'm like, why the fuck didn't y'all beat their asses? Like, what the fuck? And they're like, dude, we didn't even know what was going on. You know, we're all drunk. Shit just pops off like that. Next thing we know, you're up off the fucking ground trying to start a fight with the whole goddamn party. And we had to go. They're throwing us out. So I got a concussion. I was fucking sick from all the alcohol. Then I got a concussion from getting punched in the head and then kicked in the fucking head. But yeah, so that was the time that I got knocked out. I've never had anybody like really square up and fight me in life except me and one of my friends, who's also dead, actually. All my friends died. People are like, why don't you have any guy friends? I'm like, I had three friends in life, four real friends. My brother, this dude named Jason, Chad, and my best friend that I stole my wife from. And so I stole my wife from one of my friends. One of my friends died in Afghanistan. One of my friends killed himself in county jail. He hung himself because he was overdosing, or he was withdrawing on opiates. And then my brother overdosed on opiates, possibly intentionally. So like the four guys in my entire life that I ever like developed a relationship with and shared really any part of my life with are all either dead or permanently gone. And it's just like, I don't have anything left to fucking start over with. You know what I mean? It's like, fuck it, you know? I guess it just wasn't meant to be for me. So yeah, that's how I got knocked out. So getting knocked out is actually pretty cool because you don't even know what happened until you wake up. I've never used Pharma HGH because it's fucking crazy expensive. So all I've ever used is generic, and I've had really good results with it. At your age, though, you're jacked as fuck, like top 0.1%. That's the other thing, man. I'm 43 years old. Like, I'll post shit online, you know, and some fucking dudes will be like critiquing my fucking physique, or they'll be telling me I'm not lifting enough in the gym. Like, it's like whatever critique I get, 9 times out of 10 is from somebody in their 20s or 30s. And like, I get that y'all don't know, but dude, I'm 40 fucking 3. There's not a lot of guys my age that look anywhere near like what I look like or fucking do anything to their bodies like I do. There is no site for QSC. You got to email them or hit them up on their WhatsApp is the new thing. Check out MesoRx. You'll find them on there. Haha, Dave. Yeah, a lot of people keep telling me I'm a great storyteller. I don't know what makes me a good storyteller. I just like relive it in the moment, and it just all flows out of me. But I'm glad you guys have been enjoying it. It's fun, like reminiscing. Chevy Block, wrapped up in drugs, 2 years, stopped answering my calls. Dude, I'm sorry to hear that, Chevy Block, man. I don't know, man. It's hard. Like, obviously with my brothers, the one that I had the most experience with, you know, we were fucking brothers, you know, we were best friends growing up. We fought like any brothers did. My parents, you know, my upbringing wasn't very good. My parents fought a lot. And so we kind of, you know, clung to each other to some degree or another. But we were real competitive because he was only 2 years younger than me. And he had like infinitely more athletic ability than me. Like, I was a super nerd when I was young, and my brother was like popular and athletic. And so we were real competitive with one another. And we all, you know, we did all kinds of drugs together, and everything was cool, man. And to fucking opiates, dude, they're the fucking worst, man. Like, I've struggled with speed addiction multiple times in my life. It does damage, but the opiates are the worst. And my brother started dating a girl that introduced him to it. And it was just like a progressive thing. It just like, once he got on that shit, he just progressively went in the toilet. He started getting super crazy. He started studying all this fucking Mason. He started studying the Masons. He got real wrapped up in all these conspiracy theories you guys are always wanting to talk about. He started digging into psychology, and he was all fucked up on all these opiates. And he started tattooing his face, and it was just like this. It was just like this progressive thing. And he started getting in a lot of trouble. And like, I'd be getting calls at 1 o'clock in the morning, and he'd have wrecked his car somewhere and abandoned the fucking vehicle. At one point, he was all fucked up on Xanax and opiates and alcohol, and he actually crashed his Tahoe into a fucking gasoline station, and it blew up the fucking pump and blew up and melted the fucking Tahoe. He was always in. I've got so many crazy stories I could tell about my brother, dude. And honestly, with my brother, and this is not what you want to hear, bro, I know. But you know, like, I just saw the writing on the wall, you know, years before he died. And I kind of just started making my peace with what was coming, you know, because he was just constantly in and out of trouble. Things were just really bad. And so maybe, I don't know if I withdrew emotionally, if that's the right thing to say, but I started accepting it before it happened. And so the point when I got the bad news, it really wasn't even bad news. You know, like, I mean, I miss my brother. You know, I love him. I wish he was here, but he was in a lot of pain, dude. He was in a lot of fucking pain, and he couldn't escape it. And I'm not one of these people that's like, you know, some people will tell you just have to go on no matter what. Like, you just have to find a way. And I don't believe that, man. I don't, this life is meaningless and pointless. It's like a fucking video game. You can't win. And I only continue to play it because it's fun for me. And if it ever becomes not fun for me, then I will go out like my brother did, probably, or I'll do it with roids, which honestly is probably what I'm really doing. Honestly, in the background, is I'm probably just basically intentionally killing myself, because I know what I'm doing is going in that direction. So when he died, honestly, it was kind of like a relief, man, because I knew he wasn't hurting anymore, and I didn't have to watch any more of the downward spiral. And so I just let him go, and you know, life goes on, man. My best friend, same thing happened to my best friend Jason. Opiates killed him too. He was similar thing. He just couldn't get free of them. Anytime he was sober, he was miserable. And it's rough, dude. You know, if only they had steroids. That's the thing. If I could have got my brother and Jason on to fucking test and train and Masteron, then they'd still be here, and we'd be like fucking probably top 3 at the Olympia right now. Right? I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's just one of those things, dude. Like, it seems to be a one-way ticket. And honestly, my oldest son is going down that road right now. And I mean, it could literally be any day that I'm on here making a video that my son's dead too. So it's just one of those things about our world. Yeah. That's kind of what happened with my brother, dude. You know, the opiates leach vitamins and minerals out of your system. And so it leads to all kinds of problems. That's usually why they look sickly, and you know, they don't eat, and it's poison. And you know, there's people that, you know, and then it's like, then on the other hand, there's, you know, there's people who are like high functioning opiate addicts. There's a lot of them. You know, James Taylor famously had like a really bad opiate addiction for a long time. I think Axl Rose, long time opiate addict, Ray Charles. You know, there's people who find a way to live with their addiction and to control it instead of letting it control them, which is what I'm always trying to do with the roids. But for a lot of them, it's just like a perpetual downward fucking spiral into just oblivion. And it sucks because it just suck. They suck everyone around them down with them, you know, like they feel alone in their struggle, and they are in a sense, but it's like, you know, we're all suffering too because we're watching you and we give a shit about you and we don't want to see this shit happening to you. It's fucking ugly as shit, dude. I'm a proponent actually of decriminalizing all drugs. And I think that they should be pharmaceutically produced by the American government and sold at cost to people who use them. I think that if we took money out of a lot of bullshit fucking programs that absolutely do no good. But when I say legalizing drugs, I do not mean what the fuck they did in Oregon and Washington State. This is the stupidest fucking thing. And this is another reason why it's like, on the one hand, I have a lot of liberal ideas. And it's just like, even the good ideas that liberals have, they manage to just fuck them up to the massive degree. Like when I envisioned them decriminalizing drugs, at no point did I mean, hey, let's let people fucking wander around the street fucked up on fentanyl and opiates and this new shit that's on what the fuck is that new shit, that trank shit? This got people looking like fucking zombies. Like my idea was decriminalize drugs for use in the privacy of your own home. You definitely cannot fucking go driving around on them or walking around. It's like alcohol. Like you can sit at home and get shit-faced drunk all you want. You can't get in a fucking car legally, and you can't be stumbling around drunk in public. Like all we had to do with drugs was apply the same logic that we apply to fucking alcohol. So if an opiate user can go down to the pharmacy and pick up fucking opiates and go back to their fucking house and do them, then problem solved. Yeah, some of them are going to die, but that's just part of it. Like when you allow, people are going to die no matter what. More people get killed by not knowing what the fuck they're putting in their bodies than they do from the drugs themselves. These overdoses and this fentanyl and all this bullshit and dirty drugs. And then you're funding cartels and you're funding all of these other stupid fucking things. Drugs are really, really crazy cheap to fucking to produce. So I don't think, like I am not a person who believes that if you decriminalize all drugs, that everybody's going to run out tomorrow and be a fucking heroin addict. Stupid. We already know this doesn't happen. Legalizing marijuana in the states that they legalized did not create just some insane number of sudden potheads. And like, if they decriminalize crystal meth tomorrow, my wife is never going to go to the store and go, you know, I think I'll get a little meth tonight. Like most people are still not going to use it. But the people who are going to use it at a bare minimum can get something that is safe, pharma fucking grade. They know exactly what it is. It's easier for the government to track because now they know who's buying it. It's easier to create programs. It's easier to wean people off. You take the stigma and the fear of getting prosecuted out of the equation, and then you reduce a lot of the paranoia. And if you make the drugs incredibly cheap to buy because they are incredibly cheap to make, then you have less thievery and less bullshit going on trying to support addictions. There is a solution to the drug problem in this world. It's really not that difficult. Like some people keep joking about me running for president. I fucking swear to God, I'm considering doing it in the next election. And I was going to start making a series of videos. Like I can solve our fucking border policy overnight. I could solve our fucking homeless problem. In short, the homelessness problem is the easiest problem to solve. I have a plan to solve drug addiction and drug overdoses. I have a plan to solve welfare. Like none of these things are difficult to fucking accomplish if your goal is solving the problem. The reason that we don't have solutions to any of these problems is because none of the politicians that we have in office, that's Democrat and Republican, they're not actually trying to solve the problems. They're just trying to figure out how to get rich on the problems. That's what their objective is. The entire war on drugs is a money-making venture. It has nothing to do with people's safety. It has nothing to do with the advancement of our civilization. It's pure and simply a money-making endeavor, and they make fucking epic amounts of money supposedly fighting the war on drugs. Like It's total horseshit. If we had politicians who were actual civil servants, like back in the day when this country was founded, you know, a guy got elected president of the United States. He left his farm behind. He left his law practice behind. He left his medical practice behind. And he went to serve the American people as an elected representative. That's what this country was founded on. That's the way it was supposed to be run. This idea of career politicians, these people whose job it is to be a politician, that's where all of the corruption comes from. And that's why I like Donald Trump, because he's not part of this career politician movement. This guy is an example of the founding fathers who were walking away from their very lucrative businesses to go into the service of the American people. Joe Biden is an example of the direct opposite. This guy has been in politics forever. He's a career politician. And if you just look at the tapes of the things he said, he changes his fucking point of view every 5 or 10 years to make sure he's saying whatever people want to hear. This guy, Joe Biden, is one of the biggest racist pieces of shit that ever walked the earth. And yet black people just vote for him left and right. It's fucking mind-blowing. I mean, there's just gobs of videos out there of this guy trying to make sure that they never bust black students from the inner city into the school districts where his kids were attending. He said more racist shit than anything that Donald Trump could have imagined saying. And he just keeps getting away with it because they sell you on all of their bullshit agendas. That's how they blind you to the truth. Somehow the American people managed to elect a man who stood in front of the entire American fucking electorate and told that creepy fuck ass story about the little kids playing with his leg hair in the pool. What the fuck? How the fuck did you watch him sit there and tell that story and then walk into a voting booth and fucking go, yeah, that's the guy who should be running America? That's just fucking insane, dude. There's so many, and this is true of all of these people, all of these career politicians, not just the Democrats. Lindsey fucking Graham is a piece of shit too. These fucking rhinos that have been in politics since fucking day one, they are fucking up the country too. But dude, see, I'm supposed to be talking about steroids. Where's my wife? Hurry up with my fucking food so I don't have to get myself in any more trouble. What's your favorite wet compound? Fuck, I don't know. No compound's wet for me because I can fucking constantly keep my E2 in line. That's the thing. I have a video titled "What's It Like to Do DECA," I think. And if you look at that video, I show pictures. Like I have like update pictures like every week that I was on cycle. And I'm like fucking peeled the whole cycle on DECA. I never turned into a water balloon. So like test is wet. DECA is considered wet. I don't ever get wet. Like, because I manage my estrogen. So like test is great. Once I figured out how to deal with the 19 norprolactin issue, I had a lot of success in my DECA cycle. I'm seriously considering taking test, trend DECA Masteron instead of adding EQ. That's what I want to do. If I keep growing, what I really want to do is put 300 milligrams of fucking DECA back in the mix. But for some reason, they're always like, don't take 219 Nors. I don't even understand why that is. If the answer is left ventricular hypertrophy, it's like, guys, I don't give a fuck if my heart explodes right now on this camera. I don't care at all. I really don't. Like, I love my wife and kids, but left ventricular hypertrophy is never going to be a reason where I go, oh, well, I'm not going to do that drug then. Like, if the side effect risk is heart attack, stroke, shit like that, like insta-death shit, don't care. I hope to God I insta-die. The only thing I'm scared of is cancer. Cancer has turned me into a fucking crybaby in 10 seconds. Like, when I thought I had lymphoma, I was going through it. Like, I just don't want to slow die. I'll take anything if it'll kill me quickly. So, I mean, I guess my answer would be test DECA as far as wet compounds go. I'm more like Joe in the sense that I like to stay peeled. And so I really love, the I really love the DHT derivatives, but they're killing me faster than probably than anything else because my cholesterol is fucked. I was telling you guys that I thought I had figured out the cholesterol thing because it had got up to 260, and then I had got it down to 225 on 300 milligrams of Mast, 300 milligrams of Tren, 200 milligrams of Test. Well, I checked it again the other day, like I said I was going to, and the only thing that I had changed at this point was the MK677, but it was back up to 244. So I've basically gone back to the opinion that I just don't care if it kills me, and I'm going to take a giant amount of drugs. And if I get plaque buildup in my heart, well, you know, I had to go out somehow. Okay, I think my wife just pulled up. So any final questions? Anybody have one more really pressing question? We're at the 2 hour and 15-minute mark. Thank you to everyone who has been here this whole time or any part of the time or who was watching this video after the fact. One thing that I regretted not saying in my last video, if you are at this point in the video and you're not watching it live, if you have questions that you would like me to answer on my next live stream, please comment those on this video. Or if there's anybody who's been in here that didn't get a question answered, in the comment section on this video, any question at all, doesn't have to be bodybuilding. I'm not promising I'm going to answer all of them, but any questions that I can turn into a live stream, please leave those in the comments. And then the next time I come on, maybe we'll do a whole video on all those questions. What is the highest amount of calories you've been able to eat for a period of time? This will be my last question. I believe like 4,500 calories, give or take, is the maximum amount of calories I've been able to consume in a single day. And up until MK677, I could never maintain that for more than 3 or 4 days. And then I would drop way back down and come back up. And MK677 is revolutionizing my way of life and my eating. So I'm scared to know how many calories I'm eating right now. On more than one occasion, I've had 2 60-gram protein smoothies containing about 1,000 calories each. So there's 2,000 calories and 120 grams of protein. And then on top of that, I've had 3 to 4 meals, including up to 2 liters of Dr. Pepper and gobs of like these sugar candy hearts. There's no fucking telling the calories that I've been eating recently. So in a very short period of time, I'm guessing like a week, I'll have to check exactly. I went from 190, like 190.4 at night. And last night I was the biggest I've ever been in life at 203.5 pounds. So the MK677 is for real. My food has arrived. Thank you everyone for participation in this video. Again, if you have any questions for future videos, please leave them in the comment section below. And as always, we will see you on the next one.